Hi, this is Michael Senoff with Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. The title of this interview is called How to Use Jordan Belfort's Straight Line Selling System to Break Free from Mediocrity and Create the Life of Your Dreams. It's an interview with legendary success coach Jordan Belfort. His life story is currently being turned into a major motion picture by Warner Brothers with Leonardo DiCaprio set to play Belfort and Martin Scorsese set to direct. Over the last 20 years, Jordan Belfort has soared to the highest financial heights, earning over $50 million a year as the notorious Wolf of Wall Street, and then sunk to the lowest of lows, succumbing to drug addiction and serving 22 months in a federal prison camp for stock fraud. Yet, along the way, he's managed to provide over $1 billion of financing for various public companies and held controlling stakes in more than 30 of them. He's acted as a consultant to more than 50 public companies and has been written about in virtually every major newspaper and magazine in the world, including the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Los Angeles Times, the London Times, Forbes, Business Week, and Rolling Stone. In the 1990s, Jordan Belfort built one of the most dynamic and successful sales organizations in Wall Street history. To this day, his sales training techniques and daily motivational speeches are still legendary, earning him a reputation as a motivator without peer, who can take virtually any individual, regardless of age, race, sex, educational background, or social status, and inspire them to achieve goals they never dreamed themselves capable of. Today, his life represents the ultimate redemption story, and barely surviving his rise and fall as an American entrepreneurial icon, he is now recovered and is a world-renowned motivational speaker who helps people and organizations achieve success. Jordan Belfort's teachings captivate and inspire his audience and provide them with all the necessary tools to create instant, measurable, and lasting success. Jordan Belfort's 2 best-selling books have been published in 43 countries and translated into 18 different languages. For more information on Jordan Belfort, go to www.thebelfortsellingSystem.com. That's the Belfort, and Belfort is spelled B-E-L-F-O-R-T, sellingsystem.com. Now let's get going. Hello, this is Michael.
Michael, Jordan Belfort, how you doing?
Jordan, real good. How are you?
Did like constant webinars since I woke up this morning. It's crazy.
I was going to ask you, how many interviews have you been doing a day?
It's a lot. Mostly I do a lot of press interviews. I'm going on tour again. I'm leaving actually in a couple hours to Switzerland. I'm on a loop around the world. I'm going from Switzerland back to L.A. for the weekend for my own seminar. Then I got to go to Australia for a 6-day seminar. Then I got to go to South Africa for a 17-day tour. Then back to Australia for 6 days. I do master's PR when I go to these countries. I'll typically do maybe 30 interviews for each per country.
So who's promoting your seminars?
In Australia, a company called EmpowerNet.
So, like, how does that work? How do you hook up with a seminar promoter like that?
EmpowerNet's the biggest promoter in Australia. They have promoted Tony Robbins for years and years and years, and I'll give you the answer if you want from how I did it or how I would tell someone else to, because, you know, my way is not going to work for other people because I came, you know, with an international bestseller and a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio picked. I mean, I teach people how to do it without having those assets behind them, but my book was just selling like crazy all over the world. You know, I was getting pressure from my publisher. They want me to write another book, and I don't particularly like writing. It annoys me. So I said, all right, well, maybe I'll write another book. I said, you know, I kind of want to do a little speaking, you know? So I said, let me go out and give a couple of free speeches. So I went out to colleges, and this was right after the wake of the financial crisis, and I started giving speeches about ethics to kids.
Did you get a promoter to help you line those up?
No. I did it myself free. I did it for free.
Okay.
And I had all these fans. One day I put on my Facebook wall, hey, I'm going to give this ethics speech to a college. Let me know if you want me to come to your school. And I got like 200 requests from schools. So I picked the 3 best ones. I picked Berkeley, and I picked UMass and Bentley College up in Massachusetts.
Did you have anything to sell at that time?
No, it was free. And so it was supposed to be about ethics. But what happened is as soon as I started speaking, about halfway through, of course, I switched to my typical stuff, which is more motivation. I just love talking with them. The kids were clapping and cheering. So I got that kind of thrill back. So I said, all right, actually, I'm going to go out and just kind of take over the speaking business. I had been getting requests from all these different places to come and speak. I just been ignoring it all. People were, well, on Facebook. He said, hey, can you come to my country? So one person sounded serious in Australia, so I emailed the guy back and told me what you could put together for me, and the guy sent me a very, very detailed proposal from nobody. And look good, so I go out and, give it a whirl. Tell me, see if you can put some corporate speeches, just corporate speeches, not seminars. He called me back a few days later and goes, listen, the demand is far greater than I can't believe it. And everybody wants you to come speak, so, because I really can't handle it. He found out he was actually a very wealthy but a legitimate guy. He goes, you need to hook up with this guy named Nick Fordham. Nick is the top PR guy, talent manager in Australia. His family is really well respected. I got on the phone with this guy Nick, and Nick and I hit it off, and Nick became my manager, and we went down to Australia, this was about 15 months ago, and we did a tour of just corporate speaking. And then, like, about 3 weeks before, I called and said, hey, Nick, I have so many fans down there. Why don't we just do a public event where I'll just get on stage for a few hours and I'll just tell my story and we'll charge admission. So we came up with this idea. We'll charge $200 for a regular ticket, $500 for a VIP ticket, which so you can sit up front and have a cocktail party afterwards, and then $2,000 if you want to have dinner with me after the event. And that's like up to 15 people, right? And so we did one in Sydney, one in Melbourne. Literally, we cut a deal with the Australian Financial Review, which is like their Wall Street Journal, a barter deal where I gave them, exchanged a corporate dinner for $40,000 of advertising, and bam, we sold out 2 stadiums, 1,500 people in Sydney and like 900 people in Melbourne.
What's the split on that, like with your manager, for any students who want to set up a deal like this? Is it a 50-50 or?
My manager gets 10%.
Just 10%?
Just 10%, but that's different with Empower. Now, because he's not a promoter, he's a manager. In other words, it's different. Now, we had an event company that took a cut, but there was no promoter. We didn't have a promoter. We didn't even need one because I was a brand name out there. So I just put an ad in the newspaper and people bought tickets. We sold out 2 shows. So then what happened was I didn't sell anything from stage. I just made money on ticket sales, a few $100 grand. After I was done at the dinner, I had this dinner, a $2,000 a plate dinner, and there's a couple at the dinner, and one guy halfway through dinner goes, listen, I'm here. I bought the dinner ticket because I want to meet you in person. I'm a promoter. He goes, let me ask you a question. He goes, why didn't you sell anything from stage? You could have made $1 million.
Was he a U.S. guy?
No, he was a big UK promoter. I was like, oh, my God, it hit me. I didn't know the business. I didn't do any research on it. I didn't know. His name is Greg Secker. He's probably the best stage closer out there. He's the top currency trading guy in the world in terms of still closing from stage.
And he sells his own info products?
No, he sells us currency trading system. So then I made a strategic decision with my manager, Nick Fordham, who's still my manager, global manager. I said, Nick, let's leave the U.S. for last. Let's get it right overseas. The market's so vast for me in the United States. You have a movie coming out this year. It's going to be just nuts, right? So I said, let's go back. We'll do Australia again. So we took our time, and we found out who the biggest promoters were in each market. We called EmpowerNet, which is huge, and this other company called Universal Events, and then Success Resources, the top 3 or 4 biggest promoters in the world. Salim Kosher from, Power Within in Canada. And, of course, it was me. And, I had no idea. Oh, my God, of course. So, because, they'll sign me up. Because here I have this model where people are paying to come see me for a few hours. So we just did a tour of Australia where we did about 5,000 people. And they paid, an average of $200 a ticket just for a preview event for 3 hours. Then I upsold them from there into a 3-day seminar at $3,900. I had like 300 people at that seminar, and that's how it built from there.
Are these seminar promoters, are they looking for hot people to promote all the time?
They're looking for people who can close from stage, who have good products that can close from stage.
Because they're going to get a piece of action of the gross sales?
Right, they get 50%. In the case of like a Michael Burnett from EmpowerNet, that's a 50-50 split. He fills the rooms, and then he pays all the expenses. I don't pay any of the expenses. And then let's just say I don't, but everyone else does pay. I have a different deal because they can, make more money with me. So then the standard deal is I pay my expenses, he pays his expenses, and then we split the revenue 50-50, and then we split the upsells 50-50. And then he organizes the next 3-day event that I'm selling, and then we split those upsells again. So of those 300 people, I went out a month or 2 later and made another $1 million on the deal because I upsold into a much larger, but a $20,000 program.
Yeah, so he fills the room, you got your manager setting everything up, you just got to show up and do your thing.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's sweet. Now, do you think any of this would have ever happened if you had never written that first book?
Of course, you can do without writing. Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make, a lot of my students here are into book publishing, and having a published book, and especially a best-selling one, is such a great first thing to do to build credibility.
Clearly, I probably saved myself years and years of having to go out there and sell myself, who I am, and I would have never been able to fill rooms of paid people. In other words, it's not that hard. Let me tell you something. You can. And when I say not hard, I wouldn't say it's easy, but let's say it's totally plausible to be able to fill rooms up with 60 to 100 people or 150 people for free. They go there for free. and then, you know, you try to sell them something once they're there for free, okay? And people do that don't have a brand name. It's a very dicey business, and you could lose your shirt in it, okay? And also, you know, if you don't sell well, you don't close well, you make nothing. You know, the model I created was where I actually charge people to come keep even for a preview, okay, is based on the fact that, yeah, my books, you know, I was a best-selling author, which then springboarded me into a career with TV, where I'm commentating on CNN and CNBC and all sorts of different stations around Sky News around the world. And then from there, I brand myself as the expert for sales, persuasion, and marketing and motivation stuff. So to answer your question, yeah, the book is amazingly effective, and perhaps the single most important thing that you can do as a first step to get your name out there is to write a book and get it published, okay, or simply to self-publish the book, okay? You can't get it published by a real publisher, which is very often the case for a first-time author, but at least write the book, self-publish it, get a cover on it, and start promoting your book, so when you get on stage, you can say you wrote a book. That's a huge thing. But that's only one piece of a much larger puzzle, which really has to do with branding yourself as an authority figure in whatever field you're in, and to get on stage and talk with conviction and clarity and focus and authenticity and be able to essentially position yourself as the expert in your field, promote yourself in a way that's elegant, that gets the job done, but doesn't come off as tacky and doesn't cheapen your brand. Then the next step is to learn how to be a closer so you can get paid for it. You line up those three elements in speaking career, you're going to kick ass.
You're listening to an exclusive interview found on Michael Senoff's hard-to-find-seminars.com. For more information on Jordan Belfort, go to www.thebelfortsellingSystem.com. www.thebelfortsellingSystem.com. Now, your branding, you had a lot of help. Like I remember in your book you were talking about you went to Bandler. You didn't really know what your success system was until Bandler kind of, narrowed it down to those 4 principles. What's your feeling about building a team and getting coaches to help you? And in the branding department, who was your mentor and who helped you clarify everything of what Jordan's brand was going to be? Or did you have an idea on that?
Bandler didn't help me brand myself, but Bandler did. I went to Bandler for a couple of reasons. The first reason was I had heard a lot about NLP, and I knew there was all these different people who purported to be experts or certified at NLP. If I'm going to go out there onto the speaking circuit and really do this at the highest level and try to make quick changes in people's lives, and I want to know every possible technology, every technique that's out there. So I started to investigate NLP and then stumbled upon some local course in NLP in San Diego. I went through a 6-day NLP seminar that was worthless. It was so awful. I mean, he was a nice enough guy, but he might be okay himself even using it. I don't really even know. NLP is at the to a beautifully crafted saber, okay? In the hands of an expert, it can be deadly effective, and in the hands of a novice, it's worthless. That's like what NLP really is. So I went to this seminar with this guy, and I was like, all right, well, that was a waste. I said, I want to find out from the horse's mouth exactly what this shit's all about. And I went down and spent a week with Bandler, okay? And that was the first reason, was to really understand this sort of murky body of knowledge, and I wanted to find out what the truth about it was. Second thing, that when I started to have a basic understanding of NLP, I was like, okay, it's really about modeling and breaking down people's strategies, and that was really what Bandler helped me crystallize in my own life in terms of what I had done that allowed me to take any person, basically, any young kid without any sales experience, without any entrepreneurship skills, without a high level of self-motivation, without standards that were very, very high, kids from poor families without education. How did I take any of these kids and make them all rich? That was really what I wanted to get to the bottom of, and that was what I learned with NLP through Bandler, and really just through the exercises that I did with Bandler, was to understand, what my strategies were.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with hard-to-find-seminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. Many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini-seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at hardtofindseminars.com. So go right now to hardtofindseminars.com and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to hardtofindseminars.com. Thanks for watching.